go.
Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down. Where my girls at?
Down. Yes. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. We got issues with Sabrina, Katrina, Crisette, and Gloria. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, baby. It doesn't change. We are in the studio. Yes. We got issues. We talk about it all. I'm talking about powerful, purposeful, not Pollyannish. You want to talk about it? These are your girlfriends. We're going to talk about it. So this is Sabrina Goodwin Monday, broadcasting from Geneva on the Lake, Ohio. We got Gloria Mayfield Banks in Ellicott City, Maryland. We have Katrina Harris-Earl in the San Francisco, Oakland, California area. Sometimes she's in Chicago, but right now she is wintering in California. And then we got our girlfriend Crisette, who's vacationing all the way in Mexico. So it's good to see you, girlfriends. How you feel today? How you feel, Gloria Mayfield Banks?
I'm feeling sunny. It's dark outside. I don't care. It's cold outside. I don't care. It's bright inside. I'm excited about this topic. I mean, just seeing Sunny's energy got me all light up. So I'm very excited about this topic. So many good things going on. I choose to see all the good things that are going on. So it's been really good. I'm excited about this show, Sabrina. I'm really excited about this show. And I want to say this. You know, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they were talking about energy. We were talking about energy and how you bring energy. And the minute Sunny came on, I could feel her energy. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah,
energy is amazing. It's really good
yeah.
Energy. Yes. And the topic today, tribe, we are talking Black Americans living outside the USA. Yes. Global living, you guys. The international edition. Yes. We are living here, there, and everywhere. And so we have the founder of Blacks Living Abroad. Yes. Katrina, how are you?
Oh my goodness. I'm doing great. I feel this is really speaking to me today because my passport is my favorite book outside of the Bible. It is the loneliest book in my house. Okay. And I'm telling you, this morning we had ministry early this morning with 140 nations. And we were there looking at Botswana, looking at all over. And so now to be here with Sunny, I can't wait to meet her. Can't wait to greet her. Can't wait to know more. I'm feeling like just maybe we might be able to sit at a table and eat the same food someplace in the world with you. Okay. Yeah, we want to know. Yeah. We want to be abroad. Okay, Sabrina, I know you didn't talk about living abroad. I know you're going to talk about it. So I'm excited. But y'all, the news. I mean, seriously, can we just talk? I know we're going to get to our guest in just a hot minute, but I'm sure this makes international news. I'm sure this makes international news. I mean, seriously, you guys, seriously, have we ever been at a place that a president? It's one thing. Somebody said yesterday that what Donald Trump is dealing with now could be even worse than being impeached twice, because this has to do with his private life of his accountant firing him and saying that his records for the financial records that they have created for the past 10 years are invalid, not reliable, not accurate, and we're out of here. I mean, hello?
That's big. That is so big.
It's beyond big, and we all know how are you going to wiggle out of this one? I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Well, I don't know either. The timing is amazing. I'm glad they're coming forward, but you're going to be held responsible because you lied for 10 years. So don't try to jump ship. But we want the information, but everybody has to be held accountable. Lots going on. How about the Russian skater who skated an amazing routine this morning? Saw it live. What do you guys think about that Russian skater? I mean, right now, ranking in that short program, top of the leaderboard.
Way up.
Yep. And Kenny was like, they cheating on this side, they cheating on that side. She wasn't that good to be getting all that scoring.
Her skating was
And-
beautiful.
But talking like a true Olympic athlete. He's talking like a true Olympic
He did.
athlete. And the people that were covering
He
it,
did.
they were
He
super
did.
passionate. They were like, I can't
Mhm.
believe she's on the ice. This is wrong. He was talking about. I was coming from the grandmother piece. I was like, wow, that little 15-year-old, all that pressure. Her parents, her doctors, her coaches, all of them telling her what to do. What to do. And personally, from a layman's eye, that chick could skate. I was like,
Yeah, she could
her
skate.
leg went way up there and over here. I was like, I was impressed. I was sad for her.
But you mistakenly took your grandfather's medicine. Hello, somebody.
That's
Oh, I
what
didn't
she
hear that
said.
part.
Yeah, that's
Is that
her
what she
story.
said?
She's sticking to it. That's her story. She's sticking to it.
But you
She
know what? Really,
mistakenly
honestly,
took her
though,
grandfather's medicine.
we're acting like she's acting like this by herself. We're acting like she made up that story.
No. Her coaches, her parents, everybody. But the bottom line is she is a subject matter. She is the subject. She's 15. Yeah. She is a minor. But everybody has to be responsible. Everybody has to be responsible. I feel bad for her. I really do. But it's unfortunate. There's no.
Well, I'm just glad that we have a controversial subject that we disagree on. Okay. Let's celebrate that. Let's set up some balloons for that one.
The good news is Simone. Did y'all see Simone Biles got engaged yesterday? Yay, Simone!
No,
yeah.
What? To that football player? Oh, I did not hear that. Oh, I like that. I like that. Sabrina, that's not your lane. That's not messy. That's not messy. That's fabulous. That is awesome.
She said that was the easiest yes in her life, to say yes to that question. So we're excited for Simone. Excited for Simone.
You don't miss nothing. I don't know how I missed that. Wow.
Right, me either. I missed that for real. Wow.
Well, you guys, this is the girlfriends. The girlfriends. If you haven't joined us before, we are messy, we are gossipy, we are churchy, we are ornery, we are classy, we are. Give me some more. Feisty. We are smarty. We are techie. We are bossy. We are. What else?
You're doing it all, girl. You good. Okay. We aren't lazy. That's one thing we are not. We are not lazy. That's for sure.
We're funny. We're not lazy. Sometimes we're crazy. Sometimes we're hazy. But what you will find out about these girlfriends, we all have a personality, and depending on what day of the week, we all show up. We all show up. And so tag a girlfriend, invite a girlfriend in. Today we are talking global living.
Katrina's being sexy today for those of us who can see her. She's being sexy today, okay?
Oh, Katrina got a shoulder out, okay? Somebody said somebody is ratchet today. Mamie's definitely ratchet today. So it takes all kind, you guys. Katrina's sexy today, got her shoulder out. Okay, we see you, Katrina. We see you with the cold shoulder. Yes. Well, you guys, I mean, it's such a juicy show. So much education. I love getting ready for this show. You guys know I love international travel. You guys know I talk about living internationally. With no further ado, let's bring Sunnei, our new girlfriend, in. Sunny Days, come on in. Where is Sunnei? We're getting her in.
Hey, everyone. Hey.
Yes.
I just have to make a comment really quickly about this.
Hold on, Sunnei.
Okay.
Go ahead and do a test.
Okay. Testing.
Sunnei, go ahead and say hello, and let's test it out. And Michael
Hello.
That's it. Good. Oh my goodness.
I'm getting feedback.
Let me tell you about this super bad girlfriend. While a student at Michigan State University, Sunnei began traveling during her summer and winter vacations. After obtaining her Bachelor of Arts degree in Education, Sociology, and a Master of Arts in Teaching and Learning, she began to broaden her travels to include stints in both Africa and Europe. Her independent study of French piqued her interest, and she began to lengthen her stints abroad, encouraging her to eventually alter her private traveler status to that of an expatriate. As a Black American educational leader abroad, she realized the unique experiences that she had navigating life in this new environment, where because of her culture and nationality, she immediately understood the need for a platform specifically focused on the Black American expatriate. Sunnei soon founded Black Americans Living Abroad, the first and oldest expat group dedicated to being a resource experience sharing space for current Black Americans interested in worldwide living. As the creator and founder of BALA, you got to look it up, you guys. Facebook groups. She has all kind of information out there for Blacks. Wait a minute, Black Americans living abroad, BALA.
BALA.
She has organized events in the UAE, US, and South Korea. Led expatriate workshops internationally, acting as a visiting lecturer for study abroad students attending Michigan State, Morehouse University, and was a guest lecturer virtual for an ESL class at Stanford University. She has consulted with hundreds of expats, guiding them through the exciting and sometimes difficult process of moving abroad. She serves as a lead practitioner right now at a top-tier international school in South Korea. You guys, she lives in South Korea. Right now, it's 8 a.m. the next day. They're 16 hours ahead of us. When I tell you her energy is amazing, she has hosted various ambassador visits, created Diversity Week, and co-chairs the newly created Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion team. She has led various workshops and positive cultures within organizations and how to build relationships with students who typically have been labeled difficult. Her recent TEDx talk focused her experiences as a Black woman within the realm of international ed. In her spare time, she writes and performs poetry and has shared the stage with poets from over 20 countries. Her life's mantra is go hard or go home. Live life to the fullest, baby. With no further ado, Katrina Sunnei Daniels. Yay, Katrina Sunnei Daniels.
Okay, yes, can you hear me? Yes. Can you guys hear me? Yay. So let me then turn up. So I wanted to first thank you guys for this opportunity. As you can see, I have a plethora of diverse experiences. And I'm proud to say that I hail from the Motor City, Detroit, Detroit born. They always, kind of label us and make us believe that we can't do, and I'm here to tell you we can. So this has been, I'm just thankful for this opportunity to share with you all some of our experiences.
Excellent, Sunnei. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we want to know how in the world did you find yourself, where you find yourself. We're going to pay a few bills. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Yes, yes, yes. We're back with the force of friendship. We got issues. We take pride in addressing issues, not staying in the issues, always looking for solutions. And today we have sunny days, and she is sunny, energetic. I mean, adventurous, smart. She's a Zeta for all your Sarahs out there. I
I
mean,
am. I am.
is that the right place? Is that the right sorority, right?
Absolutely, I'm a Zeta.
Okay, we can't hear. We can't hear Katrina. We can't hear. Okay.
Can you hear me? Yes,
We're working this audio.
Okay. Hear me? Testing. You can hear me. Okay. Okay. So yes, I am a Zeta, a member of the illustrious Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Yeah, you got it right.
All right. Well, you got the Divine Nine. You got an AKA. So we're all sisters in the name of love.
AKA?
With no further ado, you're living all the way in South Korea. Tell us how you found yourself there, where you were before you were in South Korea, what you're doing, and how and why you founded Black Americans Living Abroad. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible. I can be verbose, so just bear with me. The first thing was I was in Detroit. I had worked and lived in East Lansing, Michigan after graduating from Michigan State for 17 years. I was a divorcee and decided that Lansing had I was worn out. Lansing, of course, is not as big as Detroit, and Detroit was kind of going through this really great shift. And I said, okay, let me move back. And I also wanted to work in the inner city, which I had not done my educational career. So I moved to the inner city. Well, I didn't move to the inner city. I started working in the inner city. I lived in the suburbs and I really enjoyed it. However, the leadership, it was just the place where I was, the leadership was interesting to say the least. I felt suffocated. I just had never been in that kind of toxic environment. So there was one teacher who left in like October. Nobody knew where she went. I didn't know because I was new. And then the next year, I remember coming back in January, going into the office and saying, ready to say Happy New Year. And as I'm saying Happy New Year, I hear code blue, code red, code, Mrs., this teacher's name, Mrs. blah, blah, blah is not here. No call, no show. And I was like, well, what's going on? Went quietly back to my classroom and her assistant came to me and said, do you know where where she went? And I said, no, she's in the UAE. And you always talk about travel. You speak another language. You might want to teach there as well. I was like, absolutely. And this lady who had left was a friend of mine, but we had just, became friends. And then she up and left. Right. And so I contacted her and she was like, girl, you better get your tail over here. Girl, you better leave that toxic environment. Get over here. And I'm like, no, but I really want to stay. She was like, girl, I got a maid. Girl, I got this. I said, I'm there. So I interviewed in Chicago and I was hired immediately. I was hired the day that I interviewed. At the time, They were very intentional about interviewing in inner cities. They interviewed in New York, Chicago, Atlanta. Matter of fact, the UAE got kicked out of being able to interview in Atlanta because they were taking so many teachers from Georgia at the time. And so Georgia was like, no, you can't come here. They were intentional about going to inner cities around the world. They went to London. They went to cities in New Zealand, inner kind of city areas in Sydney, because at the time they were shifting their education. And they needed people who understood management, classroom management, building classrooms, because the students had never been exposed to, these Western teachers, and they needed to be intentional about who they brought over. And so, it was my group of people that year in 2011. It was about 300 people in my group. And then the next day it was like 400. And then the next day it was like 500. So they brought us in these droves at the time. I was a single mother. And I remember my mother telling my daughter, yo mama make enough money right here. She doing real good. I don't even know why she need to go to the USA or wherever she going. I said, Mama, it's the UAE. I remember going to church, and my grandmother, may she rest in peace, she was with some pastor. And she come here, meet my granddaughter. My granddaughter, she going over there to the UAE or Africa or something. So the preacher was like, you going to Africa? Well, why are you going there? You better be careful over Africa. I said, this church right here is on Linwood. What are you talking about being careful in Africa?
Okay.
Because the shootouts that happen over here. So let's contextualize this. I said, I'm not going to Africa. I'm going to the Middle East, honey. Then of course people have their stereotypes, but it was for my children, especially. My children were 8 and 14 at the time. Now they're 24 and 19. And it was the best move that I could ever have made, especially for my Black son, because the freedoms that he was able to have, going to the store at midnight, 1 o'clock, in our neighborhood, we didn't ever know where our children were. So people would knock on our doors like, is my son here? No, he's not. Oh, okay. Maybe he's over there. There was really no sense of worry. We literally lived in a crime-free environment. And so my children were free. They were free to go to the malls and free to do all the things. So these stereotypes of the Middle East in particular, sometimes we really need to remove our stereotypes to free ourselves and open doors. Yeah, so that's where I started, and I was there for 7 years. Got married again, had two additional children. Don't do that. I love my babies, but I'm kind of older, and so they get to do what they want to do because I'm tired. Okay. But both of my children are bilingual, all 4 of them. Well, my 2 oldest speak French and English. They're bilingual. And then my 2 youngest are starting Korean. And I'm partially bilingual with the French. So I don't think, no one ever told me I could do this as a student. No one ever told me. And our white counterparts have been doing this forever. The only people that we knew who could do it was, Josephine Baker and, of course, Tina Turner. And of course, James Baldwin, but these are, people who were wealthy and famous. So we didn't know that the regular folks could actually just move abroad. And so that was eye-opening to me.
Yeah. Tell us exactly where you're living right now.
I'm living on the island of Jeju in South Korea. So there's a lot of people don't even know that South Korea has an island. And there are probably, I always say, between 15 and 30 Black people. And that's including all the Black people from the diaspora. So it's pretty much just us. Where I work, I was recruited. So essentially, I was working in the UAE, decided that it was time to leave, not because anything had happened, but the UAE is not a permanent place for people, meaning you can't get citizenship there. They're really not a lot of, after a certain age, they kind of want you to go home. And so I did not want to get stuck. So I was like, okay, it's time to go. I planned on coming back to Michigan. And I was kind of recruited by a headhunter to come out here. I had no intentions of coming on this side of Asia, ever. But, I've had great experiences. And I think it's important for especially Black Americans to travel a lot because there are so many stereotypes out there about who we are. They love our culture, but they don't understand us. And understanding us through just the lens of entertainment gives them just this monolithic view of who we are. They don't see the multidimensional nature of us. And so it's been important for me in this particular position to make sure people understand that we are indeed multidimensional.
Wow.
Excellent. It's so many questions. Let me lead with this. It says in 1961, James Baldwin, who you just mentioned, told a New York radio broadcaster to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all of the time. Baldwin sought refuge in France to escape America's violent and systemic racism during that period. Nearly 60 years later, the United States' ongoing melees and consequential rage, as seen in the aftermath of the murder of an unarmed Black man named George Floyd, summer of 2020, still remains. A growing number of frustrated Black Americans now seek to follow in the footsteps of both Baldwin and many present-day Black expats and are planning their exit strategy for living abroad. This one family says, I personally learned that you cannot heal in the same place of which you were abused or caused you trauma. It's absolutely impossible. That's why I picked up my children and moved. She wanted to leave the corporate rat race, but also stop feeling as a Black American like a second-class citizen in her own country. So, Sunnei, speak to that.
I'm so glad this came up. Oh, let me put a disclaimer out there. There's this idea that's been pervasive since Trump came in office that Black people started moving abroad recently, right? In droves. As I just told you, in my group, they, when I moved abroad in 2011, they brought, there was about 300. Now, I'm not going to say all the people that they brought over were Black, because they weren't, but there were a large cohort of us that were Black. Before that, in the 90s, which a lot of people don't know, a lot of Detroiters moved to Ghana and settled in Ghana, and a lot of them have passport and citizenship right now in Ghana. So I really want to make sure that this idea of us Blagsiting, which is what they call it now, and I, a lot of people don't mind the term, but I do, and I will come back to why I don't really like the term. This idea of Blagsiting is, again, and they kind of are promoting it because they want us to leave America, right? I'm not for us necessarily. I'm for individuals making their individual choice. But if you look at our history as Black people, some people got to stay. My job is to make sure that the people who are in America are supported. So when you have Black Lives Matter, a lot of us abroad have, we have access to more finances. We're economically more stable. That's where my money is going. If my money can't stay abroad. So I just want to kind of put that out, that all of us can't leave. And those of us who can't leave, we need to make sure that those of us who are abroad are supporting them.
Juicy. So much good information. We'll be back. We'll be right back. Life is what you make it, baby. Life is what you make it. Yes, yes, yes. Well, we believe that travel is essential. We know that these girlfriends, we've been to probably 40 various countries in our travels. And I clearly want to definitely live at least 6 months out of the year in another country. I have just fallen in love with South America and can see myself there, especially since my husband has moved us to Ohio, the snowiest region of the state. And so it's looking better and better to me. But right now we're talking to Sunny Days, and she is living right now in South Korea. She founded the Facebook group turned organization, Black Americans Living Abroad, back in 2012. Talk to us about the group, why, and what its main source of purpose is.
Okay, so the group was started because when I was in the UAE, I think their first experience with Black Americans were when we kind of landed through this education program. And so I realized that the way that we navigate living abroad is totally different than Blacks from the diaspora. For instance, unfortunately, in the UAE, a lot of the Blacks that they were encountering were service workers and not professionals. And so now with us being there, there was kind of this different, let me just give you an example. I'm in the grocery store and man cuts in front of me and I'm like, excuse me, do you realize I'm in this line? I need you to go back. And he's like, I'm like, excuse me. And he's like, oh, okay. America, right? I'm like, yeah, get to the back. So they have been, people have been accustomed to mistreating other Blacks of the diaspora.
Like they didn't even see you. They didn't even see you.
No. And we were ignorant too. We didn't know how people were being treated, and nor did we care. We just knew that we weren't going to be victimized by anyone. That's how we were raised, right? So it was just, I realized that my experiences were different. So I had to create this group to see how we were navigating being Black, but also having American privilege, because there is a thing called American privilege, and how people were navigating that and understanding that, because we didn't know. We don't know what privilege is. We don't know what that is until until they stamp that blue passport, or we don't have to get a visa. So until we're outside of the US, we're not really understanding this idea of privilege. So that's why the group was created, to understand how we were navigating this new kind of thing and privilege that we have. Not only that, just to share resources and experiences and swap stories and, find the best countries for us based on your career pathway, based on whether you want to be a digital nomad. So that's why the group was created, because there are groups for Blacks of the diaspora. But again, the way we navigate is unique, and we have to, acknowledge that, essentially.
Right.
I have a question, Sabrina. I'm so intrigued with the kids growing up in that arena, with them not having a lot of kids of our culture with them. I so get the safety piece. We love that ourselves when we travel, we see that. So tell me a little bit about the teenagers, and being outside of the culture that they're used to, coming home, hanging out with their cousins. How did that whole thing work? Because I can only imagine one of the reasons that people get pushed back when they want to live internationally is how it affects the family. Such a close-knit family. So how does that affect the family? And I'm so proud that you're from Detroit. I'm from Detroit. I absolutely love it. So go ahead.
Listen, I think, so that's what I mean by everybody can't move abroad. It's a sacrifice. You're not going to be with your cousins and aunties, and you're going to miss Thanksgiving. You're going to miss Christmas. You can rebuild it. You can have, Friendsgivings and Christmases with friends and your newfound international family, but you're going to miss that stuff. You're going to miss funerals. So again, that's why I say it's not everybody. You have to individually weigh the pros and cons for your life. And I think this narrative that the Black existence in America is negative and adverse for everyone is, I think, it shouldn't be the sole narrative. Again, we're not a monolith. There are some people who are like, I can't stand it. I got to get the heck out of here. Goodbye. There are some people who are doing well in America, despite all of the challenges that come with being black, you know, in America. So again, weighing the pros and cons. My children, yeah, they missed out on that. I mean, I'm just being honest. They missed out. Their family, the people that they're closest to are the people that they were abroad with. So now that they're both back in the States, their closest friends are the ones that were abroad with them, the ones that they met in the UAE. My oldest came here and spent 2 years here and graduated. So his closest friends are the ones, you know, his Korean friends. And so he spent 1 year in the States between the UAE and South Korea. So he does have a few friendships there, but most of his friends are international. But both of my kids are blackity black, black, black. And I'm very intentional about making sure that they understand that they are blackity black, black, black. And although they weren't raised in America, they know.
That's right.
And that's the thing about being abroad. You have to be really intentional about teaching them who they are, because they don't have those experiences. They while they don't have the negative experiences, they also don't have the positive cultural experiences. My children don't experience Black History Month. They don't experience you know, the red solo cups and the family reunions. We miss a lot of that. So again, when I come home in the summer, I try to make sure they go to church. I make sure that they do the things that ensure that they understand to the best of my ability who they are. My youngest, when they were young, they would go to Black people in the airport, y'all, and just be like, this family. I'm like, that's not your, come over here. That's not your, why are you, get over here. You don't know those people. Because, you know, when you're abroad, the Black people are your family. So yeah, it's a sacrifice.
Now, there was a word you said you didn't like. What was that word you said you didn't like?
Blaxit, which is commonly used. And I'm going to tell you why. I was, when a lot of people were moving and leaving because of Trump, and a lot of people were given wrong information. They were moving away on tourist visas, and I could just go to this country and start living and, you know, not get insurance and so you had this mass move to, a lot of them moved to Mexico. During this, Mexico and Ghana were kind of the hot spots that people moved to. And so ABC or NBC or one of these folks called me, hi, we want to talk about this Blaxit and how Black people are moving away for the racial tensions. And I said, well, BALA wasn't built on that. There are a cohort of people, but we also want to talk about the people who chose to leave because there was more money, because they were top professionals in their field and they were recruited and headhunted. We want to talk about the brothers who went from military to being advisors to various countries. Let's talk about that. They didn't want to talk about that. They wanted to talk about just the racism. And I said, I'm not going to give you a story I don't have. Let me talk to your son. They get on the phone with my son and they're like, tell us about the racial experiences you had in America. And he was like, what are you talking about? So they controlled our narrative. Again, there's a large part of our demographic that did move because of racism. Absolutely. But that's not our sole story. And I'm here to make sure that every part of our story is told, how they recruit professors, our top professors, to come and teach children all over the world, how they recruit educators because we're so good at what we do, how they recruit our doctors because they know that our doctors are not just, everybody running away. Again, I have no problem with that, but that is not the only narrative. And they were, when I say they were spinning that narrative, they were spinning it, and they were spinning it for a reason. And so we have to understand.
Let's go to the phone line. Sunny. We're going to the phone lines. We got a couple of callers. They want to jump in. Caller, are you there?
Myself.
I am the stupid singer. I was wondering how's the music there? How is the music? We have an entertainer. He wants to know how is the music in South Korea?
Really quickly, It is difficult, you know, the K-pop scene, and a lot of people know they parallel K-pop and hip-hop, K-pop and our music because it's almost the same. But if you're a musician, there are ways to get abroad. There are a lot of hotels who actually hire musicians, and that's your way to get a foot in the door. I have a frat brother right now who is working as a musician, as an entertainer here. And South Korea has entertainer visas that you can get. If you have if you have any questions, Black Americans Living Abroad at gmail.com, you can email. Okay. But yeah.
Wow.
Wonderful.
A lot of countries have
another
visas. So yeah.
We got another caller before we go to break. Caller, are you there?
Hi, guys. Thank you for talking about your experiences abroad as a Black family. I'm single, no kids, and considering a lifestyle abroad. But, you know, I am a single woman, so I wanted to ask about any kind of like safety tips when you are traveling alone as a Black woman to some new places.
Yep, the easy question. So Black Americans living abroad, that's what we do. That's what we're here for. If you are moving to a place, people say, hey, I'm moving to blah, blah, blah. Is anybody on the ground? Are there people there? Tell me about their place. Tell me about that place. Because the safety tips are going to depend on where you move to. Completely depend on where you move to. So it's best to find people on the ground before you actually get there.
Superstation, we got issues, and Sunnei is getting us straight. She's letting us know how Black Americans living abroad do it. We'll be right back. Call us with your questions, 313-778-7600. We'll be right back. And we're going to go straight to Sunny Day. Sunny, talk to us about a workshop. You just did a big conference, virtual conference. Tell us about that conference. I heard it was amazing.
Thank you. So we recently teamed up with Blagzik Tribe. See, even though I don't like the term, I still will team up with folks. So we teamed up with Blagzik Tribe to give people an opportunity to learn about the various places that we're living, to ask questions to expatriates on the ground, and to give vital information. So if you follow us on Instagram at Black Americans Living Abroad, Look us up on Facebook. We might be we're talking about planning a networking session so that people can actually begin to network, because that's what a lot of people want. They really want to network with expats and people on the ground. So just follow us and look out for upcoming announcements.
Excellent. Someone just asked about dual citizenship. Do you have dual citizenship?
I do not. And it depends on the country. So let me just talk from a Black American's point of view. There are countries in Africa right now that will give you citizenship if your DNA is mostly from that particular country. I know Sierra Leone is one of the countries that are doing that. I can't remember what the other one is. Countries like the UAE did not have pathways to citizenship. You will not become a citizen just because you're there for a long time, or just because your children are born there, because both of my children were born there. So it depends on the country. But no, I do not have dual citizenship. It is something that I am definitely seeking, and I have my eye on a particular country right now. I'm not going to say which one, but yeah.
Okay. Curious minds want to know. Curious minds.
Yeah. I was like,
all right.
ooh.
We're going to the phone lines. We've got a caller. Caller, are you there? Thank you for calling 910 a.m. The Superstation. We got issues.
Thank you so much for this conversation. It's so good. I was wondering, Sunnei, how did your children adjust to the language barriers, and as far as the schools when you initially moved abroad?
Excellent question.
Great question. Thank you. So in the UAE, English is heavily spoken, so they did not have any language difficulties. My children, I actually chose to homeschool them because the suburb that they put me in did not have what I considered good international schools at the time, and they were charging. So these average schools were charging about $20,000 a year. There is no free education in the UAE. Especially if you work for the government schools, which I did. And so you have to be, again, intentional. You have to do your research. My oldest children adapted easily because there were other Black people around. But being in BALA, your children can make or break. Okay, they can make or break your experience, and they can have you telling home. So you really have to do your research.
Wow. Excellent. As we get to the other side of the pandemic, the trend is likely to flexibility. People are seeing that they can do whatever they do anywhere in the world. And so for Black Americans to move abroad, I think it's just such a great option. It doesn't have to be forever, but I think the world, you just see so much when you travel. And I just want to encourage our listeners to not be afraid to explore, go visit. We have so many Black Americans who have never left the USA because they think it's too expensive. They don't think that they can. And when we know by traveling, you could do it a lot of different ways. Check this out, you guys. 10 best places for Black Americans to move abroad right now. Number 10, Montreal, Canada. Number 9, Barcelona, Spain. Number 8, Bangkok, Thailand. Number 7, I see you rolling your eyes, Sunnei. You probably have some thoughts. Okay. Number 7, Panama City, Panama. Number 6, Accra, Ghana. Number 5, Limon, Costa Rica. Number 4, Dakar, Senegal. Number 3, Belize City, Belize. Number 2, Lisbon, Portugal. And number 1, when I saw this, I'm like, that's a confirmation. Number 1 on this list, Medellin, Colombia. Yeah. So you know I'm packing. You know I'm ready to go. Okay. That's my confirmation. So what do you think? What do you think, Sunnei, about that list?
So first, a lot of these lists are compiled by I don't know who's compiling them. Because I have the largest groups of expats, I probably have, kind of this more data. Most of those countries I would agree with. You started with at 10. What was that country? Because that's where I started rolling my eyes like,
Canada, Montreal, Canada.
So these lists are not for Black Americans. Those are Black people of the diaspora. Black Americans would have a different list. Now, some of the ones at the top, I totally agree with. In our conference, Portugal kept coming up as just a really, really good place, especially for digital nomads, just across the board. But there are some countries that are not on there that I would say that we should consider. I think we need to stop actually limiting ourselves to this list. I mean, go where you want to. Look first, but there are so many options out there, especially if you're not someone like me. I can navigate anywhere. I don't necessarily need a Black community to navigate. And so you go where you want to go. You go where you feel you can't. It's so many options out there. So I just say free yourself. Yeah. Go to places where you never thought of. I never thought I'd be here, but I'm here and I'm doing it.
And you're loving it, and you're doing a phenomenal job. Girlfriends, do you have any closing remarks before we close out? I think this has just been such a rich conversation. It's opened our mind to so much. And we're just so proud of you, Sunnei, for being courageous and providing a vehicle for others to go where they want to go in this life. Katrina, you had a question?
I just wanted to ask Sunnei, can you talk about some of the financial benefits? I hear a lot of people love, one of the things that's helped them to do is they come back and they're in a whole different financial situation than they would have been not having worked out of the country.
Okay, I'm going to do this in 30 seconds, I promise, or less. One, you want to go to a place that has a low cost of living. If that's big. So come on, guys, like the dollar is really strong. So you can get paid in dollars. Like my daughter works for a company that's an international development company. She can live all over the world. She's getting paid in dollars. Why go to a country? Why not go to a country where the dollar is strong? That's one. Two, when a lot of people get benefits like me, I'm sponsored by a company, so they pay my housing off rip. So now whatever you've had to pay in housing, that's paid for. Also, I don't pay for insurance. And a lot of countries offer tax-free salaries. So those are the benefits. Those are the financial benefits that people have. They're living off less, or they're able to save less because of their benefit package.
What about entrepreneurship? Is there entrepreneurship for them?
Listen. Again, there are so many countries that are begging people to come, and you can open businesses. We have in our group, we have people with businesses in Taiwan, in France, in Ghana, in Mexico. It's South Korea. That's our keynote speaker has a business in South Korea. So again, the opportunities are open if you're willing to do the research.
Excellent. Excellent.
So good.
So good.
Okay, Crisette, do you have a question or comment?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Kimmy, thank you so much for being on today. I've just been listening. I'm in Mexico right now. And when I tell you, this has been one of the best conversations. I thought it was going to do something else, but now I can't move from this station because this is such a great conversation. So my question is, I know we're getting ready to end, is if you were talking to someone and they were like, I'm thinking about moving abroad, what would be the place that you would send them that's kind of, I'm just going to say, for lack of a better word, user-friendly, if you're doing it for the first time?
I didn't hear the last part. Can you repeat really quickly? What advice?
Chris, can you hear her?
Can you hear her? I can't hear.
She couldn't hear the last part of your question.
Oh, okay. I said, if someone wanted to move abroad and they really didn't know, and I know this is your expertise, what country or what community would you say would be the best place to start?
That's a good question. I think there are large Black communities in Mexico right now. Is really different parts of Mexico. There are large Black communities. I think for somebody who is new and may be afraid, you want to go somewhere where there are large Black American communities that can kind of support you, people who are on the ground. What you don't want to do is go somewhere solo, go somewhere that's not affirming. That's not Black. South Korea is not Black affirming. I want people to be clear. China is not Black affirming. So you don't want to, as a newbie, go somewhere where, you might not be affirmed. You might be a little bit hesitant and reticent because there are not a lot of Black people around. So for the newbies, I definitely recommend Black affirming places with communities of Black Americans. And there are a
Black
lot
affirming places. We got it, Sunnei. Go
Yeah.
where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, Sunnei, you've been amazing. We'll see you
Thank
tomorrow. We got
you.
issues. Same place, same time.
Thank
We'll
you,
have to have you
guys.
back, Sunnei. We'll have to have you back.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.